It should have been simple: a job, a room, a fresh start. But when Millie stepped into the Winchester mansion, she didn't realize she was walking into a trap. And by the time she found the truth upstairs, it was already too late. Police are in the house. Millie sits on the Winchester's luxurious caramel leather sofa, barely breathing as she stares at the detective beside her. His partner is upstairs, standing in front of the attic door. That's where they found the body. Now, Millie's waiting to be cuffed, but she isn't cracking. Not yet. The detective presses her. When did you find the body? Millie replies coolly, about an hour ago. He wants more. He wants her to confess, but she gives him nothing. Then, a voice from upstairs calls out, panicked, stunned, "You gotta come up here. You won't believe it. 3 months earlier, Millie Calloway's life is a disaster. She's jobless, broke, and living in her car. So when she gets an interview for a live-in housekeeper role at a sprawling Long Island mansion, she clutches at the chance like a lifeline. Her interviewer is Nina Winchester, elegant, polished, rich and friendly, almost too friendly. The house is massive, gleaming, modern, expensive everything. Nina smiles, asking questions with a syrupy warmth. She shows Millie the house, the gourmet kitchen, the private movie theater, and finally, the attic, Millie's potential room. It's small, low-ceilinged, and unsettling. There's only one tiny window, and the lock is on the outside. Something about the space makes Millie uneasy, but she hides it. After all, it's better than sleeping in the back seat of her beat-up Nissan. She needs this job. Then she meets 9-year-old Cecilia Winchester, dressed like a porcelain doll, pale eyes, too observant. She's unnervingly polite, and she stares through Millie like she already knows everything. As Millie leaves, the landscaper, a silent, rugged man named Enzo, watches her with an unreadable look. He shakes his head, barely perceptibly, almost like a warning. Millie's sinking fast. No job, no prospects, not even Munchburgers, the greasy fast food joint, will hire her. Just when hope vanishes completely, her phone rings. It's Nina. She's offering her the job. Astonished, Millie accepts instantly. But inside, she wonders, did Nina really not check her background? Did she not see that Millie spent the last 10 years in prison? The next morning, Millie arrives with all her worldly possessions stuffed in 2 duffel bags. She's greeted again by Enzo, who opens the gate wordlessly. He mutters something in Italian, pericolo. She doesn't understand, not yet. Nina welcomes her with open arms, delighting in the idea of a live-in maid. But the house is different now. It's filthy. Dishes piled in the sink, garbage overflowing, pizza boxes crusted to the coffee table. Nina is a disaster without help. Millie gets her first glimpse of Andrew Winchester, Nina's husband. Rich, handsome, successful, and a bit surprised to see her, but polite. Too polite. Nina brushes it off, saying she told him. Millie is led upstairs to the attic room again. Nina yanks the cord to light the bulbs hanging from the ceiling. There's a new addition, a tiny fridge with 3 miniature water bottles. Strange. But Millie plays along. Then she notices the scratches on the inside of the door. Long, thin grooves, like someone tried to claw their way out. She asks about the outside lock. Nina waves it off. It used to be a closet. She says she'll get a key made. Millie smiles. Inside, she's screaming. Later that day, Millie unpacks and explores her cramped attic room. The one window doesn't open, it's been painted shut. She pulls out her phone and searches a single word: pericolo. It means danger. Enzo tried to warn her. She throws herself into cleaning. The kitchen is a nightmare: old food, garbage, swarms of dirty dishes. It takes her hours just to make it livable. That's when Cecilia appears again, deadpan and eerie. The girl stares at Millie. She says she's hungry. Millie makes her crackers with peanut butter and banana, a childhood favorite. Cecilia shrieks, "I'm allergic to peanut butter. Are you trying to kill me?" She runs screaming to Nina. Millie is horrified. She didn't know. Nina never told her about the allergy. But in front of her sobbing daughter, Nina scolds Millie harshly. Millie apologizes, shaken. She nearly lost the job on day 1. And Nina? She decides to keep the peanut butter jar, just in case. That night, Andrew returns home. The house is clean. The food smells delicious. He's impressed. He even invites Millie to join them for dinner. But Nina's eyes flash. She quickly waves it off. She's just the help, she says with a cold smile. She'll want to eat alone. Millie plays along, declining. She heads to her room. The door closes behind her. She notices the scratches again. and a thought creeps in. Who was in this room before me? In the dead of night, Millie wakes up, disoriented. She heads for the bathroom and realizes the door won't open. Panic rises. The lock. She pulls and pulls, heart racing. Is she locked in? Is this a trap? Then click.it opens. Maybe it was just stuck, but the dread clings to her skin like sweat. She can't shake the feeling that the attic isn't just a room. It's a cage. The next morning, Nina is in a rage. She's tearing through the kitchen, smashing things, throwing food. She claims Millie lost her PTA notes, the ones she insists were on the counter. Millie knows she didn't see them, but Nina won't hear it. Andrew arrives mid-meltdown. He comforts his wife, then apologizes to Millie. She's high-strung, but she has a good heart. Still, as he helps clean up the shattered dishes and sour milk, Millie notices something. He's done this before. The following day, Millie runs errands and returns with groceries. Enzo helps carry the bags. Again, his expression darkens. Again, he says nothing, but in the silence, his warning echoes. The attic is still stifling, window sealed. She finds scratches in the doorframe, a strange bucket in the closet, water bottles lined neatly in her mini fridge. Nina says it's good hydration. Millie doesn't feel safe. Not in the attic. Not with Nina. Not with Cecilia watching her with soulless eyes. But it's a roof. It's a job. It's hope. And so, she stays. Millie scrubs the kitchen clean after Nina's tantrum. Dishes, floors, cabinets. The next morning, Nina is cheerful again. Like nothing ever happened. She says, "You're such a lifesaver, Millie." And just like that, she's warm, sugary, sweet, the kind of woman who'll hug you with one arm and stab you in the back with the other. Millie's confused by her constant whiplash, but she smiles. She nods. She gets to work. Later that night, after Cecilia has gone to bed and the Winchesters are asleep, Millie sneaks into the luxurious master bathroom for a proper shower. The attic has its own tiny bathroom, but she wants just one taste of what it's like to live like them. She scrubs herself clean, revels in the steaming hot water, and breathes in the expensive lavender soap. She uses Nina's fluffy white towels and steps out feeling like a different person. But then horror, there's a reddish stain on the towel. Millie panics. She didn't notice it before. Did she cause it? Or was it there already? She quickly scrubs the towel in the sink, trying to clean it. She can't afford to raise Nina's suspicions. No one can know she was here. The next day, Cecilia is acting strange. She refuses to go to her after-school lesson, saying she feels sick. But she's not sick, she's faking. Millie can tell. Cecilia doesn't want to be alone with her mother. That much is obvious. Then, in the car, Cecilia says something odd. Her voice is quiet, almost a whisper. Mommy's sick sometimes. And when she's sick, bad things happen. Millie asks her to explain. Cecilia clams up. Millie tries again. But Cecilia goes silent, staring out the window with that eerie, far-off look again. Something is deeply wrong in this house. Nina becomes increasingly erratic. She praises Millie one day, then scolds her the next. She says the laundry isn't folded properly. She demands Millie rewash a perfectly clean bathroom. She blames her for losing receipts, misplacing car keys, even for Andrew's burnt toast. Then comes the kicker. One night, Nina knocks on the attic door and hands Millie a dress. It's hideous polyester, outdated, shapeless. She says, "Wear this from now on. It's your uniform." Millie forces a smile. Of course, she puts it on the next day, heart burning with humiliation. Nina just beams. Doesn't she look cute? Dinner with the Winchesters becomes a war zone. One night, Andrew arrives late. He's tired. He compliments the chicken Millie made, says it's the best thing he's eaten in weeks. Nina's smile goes tight. Later, she explodes, throws her fork down, accuses Millie of overstepping, accuses Andrew of not appreciating her efforts. Andrew tries to calm her. Millie clears the table silently, pretending not to hear as Nina storms off in tears. Andrew sighs and says softly, "She didn't used to be like this." Millie doesn't know what to say. She's seen women like Nina before, unstable, manipulative, dangerous. But this is worse. Because Nina isn't just erratic, she's strategic. That night, Millie wakes up and tries to open her attic door. It's locked again. No mistake this time. It's locked. Her heart races. She pulls, rattles the handle, presses her ear to the door. Silence. Eventually, hours later, she hears the creak of someone outside and the subtle click of the lock. She rushes out, but the hallway is empty. Someone is testing her, watching her, toying with her. The next day, while Millie is taking out the trash, she finds Enzo in the driveway. He motions to her, speaking in broken English. His voice is low, urgent. This house, not good. You, leave, soon. Millie asks what he means. But Enzo just looks away, shoulders stiff. He knows something. She's sure of it, but he won't say more. He grabs his hedge clippers and walks off. That night, when Nina criticizes Millie again for overcooking the pasta, for not ironing Andrew's shirts properly, something inside Millie snaps. She responds curtly, not rude, but firm. Nina's eyes narrow. Are you speaking back to me? Millie stares at her and says, I'm doing my best. Nina says nothing. She just smiles, that cold, poisonous smile. Millie knows she's made a mistake. Millie is cleaning the upstairs office, Andrew's study, when she finds something odd. A locked drawer. She knows she shouldn't pry, but something about it calls to her. When Andrew comes home that night, he finds her in the hallway. They chat. He's kind, like always. He asks if she's okay. Millie says yes. Then she blurts out, why does your attic lock from the outside? Andrew looks startled. For a second, something flashes in his eyes. Then he chuckles awkwardly. Oh, I didn't know that. It's probably an old feature. This house is weird like that. Millie nods. But inside, her gut twists. He's lying in a quiet moment. Millie sits in her attic room and stares at her reflection. She takes off the glasses, the baggy clothes, the uniform Nina forced her into. She remembers who she is, who she was. She looks herself in the eye and says, you're not who they think you are. You've survived worse. She puts the glasses back on, ties her hair in a bun, plays the part, but inside she's watching, waiting, preparing. Millie's waking hours become a constant war of attrition. Nina finds new reasons to snap at her every day. Towels folded wrong, toast burnt, Cecilia's dress wrinkled. Millie swallows it all, never snapping back, but the attic lock haunts her. Every night, she hears soft footsteps outside her door. Every morning, she checks the handle. Sometimes it's stiff, sometimes it's scratched. Always wrong. One night, she rigs a trap, a string tied across the inside of the door. By morning, the string is snapped. Someone is locking her in. Millie corners Enzo one morning while taking out the trash. She begs him to talk. She asks about the attic, about Nina, about danger. Enzo's voice is soft, haunted. Other girl, before you, same room, same job. She gone now. Millie stiffens. Gone where? He looks away. No good here. You smart girl, leave now. She begs him to explain, but Enzo only shakes his head and walks away. Gone. Same job, same attic, and now she's next. That evening, after Nina heads out to her PTA meeting, Andrew finds Millie in the kitchen. He pours a glass of wine, offers her one. She declines. They talk. He's warm, honest, tired, and then almost in a whisper he says, you're not crazy, Millie. I know how she is. I see it too. Millie's breath catches. I didn't want to hire anyone. Not after what happened last time. What did happen? He pauses, then shrugs. She just left, without warning. But Millie sees the truth in his eyes. The last housemaid didn't just leave, she disappeared. Millie starts digging. She checks the attic again. Behind the dresser, she finds something, a notebook, worn, stained, partially torn. It's a journal. The entries are erratic, sloppy handwriting, some in pen, some in pencil, but the name on the first page is clear. Wendy, the last housemaid. Millie flips through. She locks the door at night. There's something wrong with the little girl. I think they're trying to break me. If anything happens to me, check the attic walls. Millie's heart pounds. She rushes to the corner of the attic, pulls at the baseboards. Nothing. Then a loose panel inside. Another note, help me, written in jagged letters, and a photograph. Wendy, younger, smiling, standing outside the Winchester house. She was real. She was here. The next morning, Nina is serene, too serene. She hums while making coffee. Her hair is perfect, her dress spotless, and her eyes cold. She says, Cecilia has a cough. Keep her home today. Millie agrees. They play dolls. Cecilia seems lighter, freer without her mother, hovering. Then Millie spots a bruise on the girl's arm, small, round, hidden just below the sleeve. She gently asks what happened. Cecilia shrinks back. I fell. Millie's chest tightens, but before she can press further, Nina returns, her expression when she sees the bruise? Flat. Later that week, Nina explodes again. She accuses Millie of going through her closet, of touching her makeup, of stealing earrings. Millie denies it, truthfully. But Nina is hysterical, crying, shouting. Andrew comes home, hears the yelling, rushes upstairs. He calms Nina down, helps her to bed. Then he returns to Millie. I'm sorry, he says quietly. She's sick. I don't know what to do anymore. Millie asks why he stays. Andrew looks away, because she wasn't always like this. But Millie hears what he doesn't say, because he's scared. The next day, Millie finds a moment alone with Andrew again. He's making tea. She offers to help. He looks at her, really looks. Their hands brush. He smiles. Millie steps back. Quickly. This is dangerous. But she can't deny the electricity. She sees how unhappy he is, how lonely, how much he's been surviving, not living. For a moment, they stand there, two people trapped in the same house, same lies, same suffocating illusion. Then, Cecilia's voice breaks the silence. The spell shatters. Andrew leaves. Millie exhales. Too close. That night, Millie hears something upstairs. Not the creak of the floorboards. Not footsteps. Breathing. Outside her door. She holds her breath, listening. It goes on for minutes. Just breathing. Then, footsteps. Soft, slow. The attic door shakes. Once, twice. Then nothing. She sits there, paralyzed. The next morning, she hides a screwdriver under her mattress. Just in case, if someone locks her in again, she'll be ready. She also starts stashing food in her mini fridge. Crackers, a granola bar, water. She's preparing for something. She doesn't know what, but the house is closing in around her. Millie returns to the wall panel where she found Wendy's note. She keeps searching. Another gap behind the beams. More paper. Not Wendy's this time. Receipts, pharmacy purchases, prescriptions, Nina's name. One drug appears again and again. Haloperidol. An antipsychotic. Heavy stuff. Millie Googles the dosage. It's high, very high. She's not just emotional or difficult. Nina Winchester is very mentally ill, and Millie's been living in a house with her, alone, locked upstairs, like Wendy. After weeks of emotional torment, Millie's nerves are frayed, but she remains careful. She stays silent, observant, controlled, until one evening, when Nina sets her up completely, she screams that Millie has stolen her wedding ring, that she's a thief, a liar. Millie tries to explain. Andrew arrives confused, asking what's going on. Nina sobs, claiming Millie is unstable, that she's violent, that she has a record. Millie's heart drops. Nina knows. She did the background check after all. Then Nina opens Millie's dresser drawer and there it is, the wedding ring, planted. Millie swears she didn't do it, but the evidence is there, cold, glittering, damning. Andrew looks devastated, hurt. Millie realizes the trap wasn't for her benefit, it was to turn him against her, and it worked. Nina smiles through her crocodile tears. We'll give you a few days to find another place to stay. Millie leaves the room without a word, but inside, she's on fire. Millie searches for proof, anything that can expose the truth. She finds an old voice recorder buried in the kitchen drawer. Late that night, she hides it in Nina's room. The next day, while Nina screams at Cecilia for spilling juice, Millie sneaks into the master bedroom and retrieves the recorder. She listens. Click. She's so gullible. I could say anything and she'd believe me. I locked her in again last night. She deserves it. I know what she is. Millie's hands tremble. She has her proof. Later, Nina collapses on the kitchen floor, shaking, pale, unconscious. Andrew rushes in, panic-stricken, calls 911. Millie stands back frozen. When the ambulance arrives, they administer something, and Nina revives. It was a reaction to her meds, a dangerous one. But instead of resting, Nina rages. She accuses Millie of tampering with her pills, trying to kill her. The police are called. Millie is questioned. They find nothing but the damage is done. Millie becomes the villain in their eyes. Cecilia finds Millie later that night. She whispers, "Mommy says you're going away." Millie nods, trying not to cry. Cecilia looks heartbroken. "But you're the only one who's ever listened." Millie kneels down. "It's not your fault, Cece. None of this is your fault." Cecilia hugs her tightly and slips something into her pocket. It's a crumpled photograph. Millie unfolds it. It's Wendy in the attic, with Cecilia, both smiling. Scrawled on the back, she said she was leaving. But she never did. Millie investigates the attic one final time. She counts the steps, measures the wall space. Something doesn't add up. She taps on the far wall. Hollow. There's a hidden crawl space. Inside she finds a blanket, a water bottle, a hairbrush, and blood. Old, crusted, dark. A chill runs through her. Wendy didn't leave. She was hidden. She was hurt, and no one said a word. Millie knows now she can't run, not without exposing them, not without justice. So she plays the game. She apologizes to Nina. She begs for another chance. Nina, smug, grants it, but Millie is already 10 steps ahead. She plants the voice recorder again this time, while Nina argues with Andrew. She gets everything. You think I don't know about you and her. You always loved playing the hero, but you're no better. You're pathetic. Andrew's voice low. You need help, Nina. Click. That night, Andrew and Millie kiss. Just once. It's wrong, but electric. He pulls away, ashamed. She walks away first. It's exactly what Nina needed. She finds out, and she explodes. She drags Millie out of bed, screams in her face, slaps her. Millie doesn't cry. She records it all. The next morning, Millie calls a lawyer. She emails the audio files, the photos, the journal, everything. Then she writes one letter to Nina. You made me into the villain, but I was never the one hiding bodies in the attic. I hope that keeps you up at night. Millie acts normal the next day. She makes breakfast, washes Cecilia's uniform, polishes the wine glasses Nina will never touch. She smiles. She says yes, ma'am. She plays her part, because today is the day everything ends. She has the files, the evidence, the voice recordings, the journal, the photographs, all of it sent to a lawyer, all of it timed to drop at once. That afternoon, a black car pulls into the driveway. Not police, not press. A woman steps out, slender, sharp-eyed, poised. Wendy's sister. She's received the package. She's furious. She wants answers. Millie watches from the attic window, heart pounding, as Nina opens the front door and comes face to face with the sister of the woman she swore had run off. The lawyer acts fast. So does the media. And the police? They arrive the very next day with a warrant. They search the house. They find the blood-stained attic crawl space, the hidden notebooks, the medicine cabinet full of overprescribed antipsychotics. They ask Nina questions. She lies, but badly. Millie plays dumb, until the detective says, we heard some disturbing things on a voice recording. Then Nina snaps, screams that Millie set her up, that Andrew was seduced, that she's the victim. But the detective just stares at her. Millie, silent and calm, says only, check the door to the attic. Check the locks. And they do. It's all real. Nina Winchester is arrested for obstruction, endangerment, and suspicion of involvement in Wendy's disappearance, which is now being investigated as a potential homicide. Andrew stands in the hallway. As the cuffs go on, he doesn't cry. Cecilia hides behind Millie's skirt. The little girl clutches her hand, whispering, will you stay? Millie kneels, brushing Cecilia's hair from her cheek. Only if your daddy says it's okay. Andrew nods once. Millie stays. Weeks pass. The house is quiet now. And no more screaming. No more slammed doors. No more midnight lock-ins. Cecilia smiles. More. Laughs. Goes to school with confidence. Andrew slowly starts to relax. And Millie? She sleeps with the attic door wide open and locked for the first time since she arrived. She's earned her place here. But just as we breathe that sigh of relief, the story isn't quite over. Because Millie sits in her attic room, holding the screwdriver she kept hidden under her mattress, and she smiles, a slow, knowing smile. She retrieves a box from under her bed. Inside are clippings, papers, notes, not about Nina, but about herself. A full file on the Winchesters. Millie didn't end up here by accident. She targeted this job. She knew about Wendy. She wanted to be in this house, because Millie Calloway wasn't just running from her past. She was hunting people who hurt women like Wendy. And she got her justice. Her way. Millie has moved on. New town. New identity. New job. A nanny this time. To another perfect family. They don't know her history. They don't know what she's capable of. But she watches. She waits. Because if there's one thing Millie has learned, it's that monsters hide behind beautiful doors, and she's very good at unlocking them.